All right, coronavirus testing is facing scrutiny after Ohio Governor Mike DeWine tested positive for the virus, despite showing no symptoms, only to test negative just hours later. So how common are false positive tests? Here to break it down is Fox News medical contributor, Dr. Mark Siegel. Doctor, welcome and thank you for joining us today. So what are your thoughts on that? Just how common are these false positives?
Emily, it's more common than people realize, and I want to walk you through it. First of all, it depends on something called pre-test probability. Where are you? Are you in an area where there's a lot of COVID-19 or an area where there's very little? If you're in an area where there's very little, then you believe in negative much more often. If you're in a hot spot and there's a lot of it, then a positive is more accurate. Secondly, what kind of test are you doing? Because Governor DeWine was doing an antigen test, which looks for a protein that the virus has. Now, I love those tests, Emily, because they're rapid, they're quick, and we can test a lot of people on them. They're very similar to what we do with the flu test. But they're less accurate than the polymerase test. That's the gold standard we've been using since March, where we look for genetic material. That is the one that takes longer to get back in most cases, but it is more accurate. His initial test was the protein antigen test, and then when he got a false positive, they went ahead and they did the more accurate genetic test. So it all depends on the kind of tests you get. But the answer here and the message for the public is you definitely can't say that the test is 100% accurate in any case.
So, Doctor, quickly, does that mean that people should be seeking out PCR tests and requesting those so that they can be one and done rather than worrying if they got that more vague test that was a false positive?
That's a really great question, Emily, and the answer is it depends on what your likelihood is. I like the antigen test for a big screening, quick. I don't think you have it. Let's just take a quick look. Maybe you have it. The other test is for a more extensive look. So maybe a confirmatory test. But I like the antigen for screening. Even if we got one wrong,